Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Got a great song for you today. We're going to learn how to play Black by Pearl Jam. Before we get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Even if you have, please click on that little notification bell so you'll know, YouTube will let you know whenever I release a new video, which happens quite often. Help me reach the people. So anyway, we're going to start here. We're in standard tuning. And just got a nice little clean tone here. This song is pretty simple chord-wise, and just kind of how it's laid out. Towards the end of the song, there's a lot of guitar layering going on, which I will, instead of breaking it down kind of exactly what's going on, because there's a lot of noise, it's kind of low in the mix, a lot of vocals going on, I'll kind of show you the licks that he's doing and then kind of improvising on, and you'll be able to kind of get a good idea of what to do there. Same thing goes throughout the verse sections. When you have all those, we have the basic chords going on, like I just played, but on the top of it we have those kind of Hendrixy style chords. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a tab of all the types of all that stuff that's going on over it, and it's completely improvised, so you're not going to really find a lot of stuff that's repeated there. So I think a better idea is to let you do your own thing with it, just like he does. So I'm going to show you how the scales and the double stops, just in E that he's using there, in the tab download. You'll see the link in the description. I'm also going to link a video that I did a while back that's shows that kind of style, Hendrix chord style kind of that I'm sure everybody's familiar with. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do your own thing with that, just like they are here, and then we'll just learn the chords underneath that. So let's start here with this intro, which is slightly different than the verse. The one thing that you want to remember is this is mostly based around an E dominant 7th chord. However, whenever they repeat the verse, or at the very end of the verse, or at the beginning of the intro, or the end of the intro, it's not a dominant 7th chord, it's a major chord. So it starts with just a regular E major. So with that bar across the D, G, and the B string of the 9th fret, with the 7th fret on the A and the open low E. And then you're going to change that to a dominant 7th chord by doing a bar with your first finger, and now it's just going to be the 9th fret on the D and the 9th fret on the B string. So that on the G string now it's that barred note, the 7th fret. So we start with it, and then you're going to kind of move that to a dominant 7 shape when you start doing the melody line, which is you're going to play. There's no strict strumming pattern here either. They're kind of really laid back. It's kind of like a Keith Richards style of school of strumming. It's just really just totally by feel. So we play the dominant 7th chord here, and then you pick up the note on the B string. So now that's part of the bar as well. So we have starting with the E chord. So you see that's built off that E7. And now we go to an A chord. So the first time you hear this just in the intro, it's going to be a bar. You're going to have the open A string now, but then bar across the top 4 strings of the 7th fret. Then the 9th fret on the G, 10th fret on the B string. All right, and so you have that top note there. And then we go back to the E7 chord. That same little melody where you move on the B string, and then you're going to go to a full A major chord, which is the 7th fret there on the D, 9th on the G, 10 on the B, 9 on the high E string. Then back to the E7. And then this time it just goes to a regular old A major bar chord at the 5th fret. Because you got to get that A sharp in there now. The C sharp in there. And then we're going to end it with just the E major. Once again, no E7. So that whole intro. All right, so now during the verse, we just have, once again, starting with E, and then moving to a dominant. And then we're mostly now just hanging around the A power chord here, which is the A, open A, 7 on the D, 9 on the G, 10 on the B. Now sometimes you'll hear the change between from here back to the E7. They'll grab that note. So they just grab this C note there. It's a 10th fret on the D string. So you'll hear that from time to time. So just back to the E7 and that chord. This is when the vocals are going on. Remember the last time? Just a regular E major whenever the verse is ending or getting ready to repeat. So verses always start and end with the standard E major, not the dominant 7. All right, now, like I said before, over that we have a lot of kind of improvised Hendrix style chord playing. And I'm going to lay out not only the scale that he's pretty much basing around those two scale forms, but the double stops around that. So if you look at the video that I've done on that style of playing, and then also apply it to this key of the double stops and stuff that I'm using here, I'll have a tab printout for you. You'll be able to do your own thing over those chords pretty easy, and that'd probably be a little bit more worthwhile for you too. All right, so now let's go to the pre-chorus, which sounds like this. That's the pre-chorus there. So it's just based off a standard C major chord. To E minor. Then the second time around, there's going to be a little fill there. Now that fill is sliding 2 to 5 on the A string to the open G, then pull off 2 to 0 on the G. Then you're gonna do a slight bend on the 3rd fret of low E, then hit E open. That time gives you time to come back and grab that E minor chord again. Then we get to the chorus. So that's just around, actually a D power chord. You can, sometimes you might hear them play the full D. It's based around the full D, but you really don't hear this top string much. So really just, you do hear an open A under it though. So it's just a D power chord really to a C chord and then E minor. So that's just those 3 chords repeated is the chorus. So then they just play them twice through though, the first chorus. Then it goes back through the verse, back through the pre-chorus, just kind of the same way with a. kind of stuff over it. And then when we get to the second chorus, it changes things up a little bit. So it starts the same way, repeating those 3 chords twice, and then we just kind of, they kind of have a little addition there. It looks like this. So basically, you do those D, C, E minor chords twice, and then it just repeats D to C, those little D, C in there, and then you go D, C, E minor again. So basically, it's D, C, E minor twice, then just D to C, and then D to C to E minor again. And then after that part of the song, we're pretty much just doing those chords the rest of the time, just D, C, E minor, the entire rest of the song. Now we have a little guitar fill that comes in here, which sounds like this. There's going to be a little bit of wah in there. All right, so that little fill is just at the, so it's just the 9th fret there on the G string. 9-11, bend and release there, half step bend and release. Then 9-11, 9. And then it just kind of comes down here to where you're going to be spending a lot of time here, because after this little section, there's a, they're just kind of over that chord, just kind of hanging out on the B string 5th fret and the open high E string. And then we're going to get to where we have underneath all that, there's a little soloing going on with a main melody that starts, which is going to be like this. All right, so I basically took this up here and moved it up to 13 on the B and 15 on the high E string. You're playing that little double stop right before you go into that melody. And then that melody, he kind of does it a lot on the neck pickup. Which is just 12, then 13 on the B, hammer on 15, back to 13, 12, 13, 12. Nice vibrato on that last note. All right, so now out of there, he goes back. You'll hear this, but you're going to hear him do this. Now, there's a lot going on here, so it's hard to hear this, but so I'm kind of just summarizing the stuff that he's doing that. After that melody, you'll hear him go down into this with still this wah pedal going, which he's holding the 5th fret there on the B string, but he's pulling off for the open high E, and then picking those 2 strings a couple times. And then you'll hear him move it up an octave. All right, so, and then you'll also hear this towards the very end of the track near the fade out. He takes that shape that we played earlier at the 15th fret, then up to the 15th, and then up to the 17th fret. So that whole alto solo is really based around this thing going on, And then and this. And of course, before all that nice familiar melody. All right, so now, like I said, underneath that is just the chorus chords that just keep going and going and going. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a fantastic song, especially if you have a couple guitar players, which you need to really pull it off. But, you know, probably need a pretty decent singer too. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for guitarlessons365.com.